All right, I guess I'll start us off since you're doing stuff.
Since I'm cleaning.
All right, well, hello everyone, and welcome to How to Survive a Breakdown. This is now going to be episode 3, I think. 3.
Yeah, three.
Episode 3 of season 1. And in this episode, we're going back to the old school before we go back to the new school. For context, we are going to be recording the week of the 17th of February's stuff just before this episode, or just after this episode. But we wanted to discuss some albums from the 90s that we both wanted to check out, or one of us wanted to check out and the other didn't, but had to anyway. So
It's gonna be a fascinating.
let's
discussion.
dive into what we're specifically going to be talking about. So if you look at our hold on one sec. I am just getting this ready. So
You fucked it up
here
already.
on Streamlabs, Parker can't see this, but on the episode preview, if you look at that beforehand, you can see exactly what we're going to be looking at. This week, we are looking at Nirvana's all 3 albums that they released. Green Day's from their first album all the way through Nimrod, which is up to 1997. The Stone Temple Pilots and their album Purple, and then Muse with Showbiz, their debut album. That's what we're going to be talking about this episode. We're going to be discussing a lot of the older material that really influenced a significant, if not all, of our bands that we listen to currently in 2023. And yeah, anything else you want to add, Parker?
I just really wanted to throw grunge in here, so
Yeah, we're going to get into
forced you at gunpoint to
specifically
listen to
that.
Nirvana. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
So hold on, let me just turn this off. So we're going to start with the first album from Nirvana, since it was first on our list, which was Bleach, which I believe came out in 1989 or 90?
1989 or 1990.
1989.
I've seen both, but yeah.
I believe 89, if anything. Because
We have it in our doc as 89. It's June 1st, 89.
So, I'm just going to get this out of the way. Pull the cat out of the bag. Musically, I respect Nirvana in every way possible. And respectfully, I appreciate how much Kurt Cobain did for the alternative rock metal scene. But I cannot for the life of me stand his voice in any environment. And I tried to be as positive as possible during every single listen. And Parker knows, because I sat there and I kept commenting that some songs were actually okay. I don't remember what was okay because I don't remember anything about it, because I don't want to remember these albums. All 3 of the albums, to me, suck. They are boring. They are gross. Vocal delivery is just, I don't like it. And that's going to be the same for the Stone Temple Pilots. We'll get into that later. But for Nirvana specifically, also Smells Like Teen Spirit was meh. It wasn't the worst thing in the world that I remember it as. But the song after it, I think it was Blue, that is 50 times better than Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's still a bad song, but it's better than Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Blue is a completely separate album from Smells Like Teen Spirit, but okay.
No, the song.
Oh, the song Blue.
No, Blue. BLEW.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Blue.
Yeah, that's the second song on the album,
the opener
right?
on Bleach. Smells Like Teen Spirit is on Nevermind.
Wait, hold on. What was the song after it then? Oh, was it that? Okay, well, anyway.
In Bloom is the song after Smells Like Teen Spirit on Nevermind.
Was it In Bloom that I thought was better? I think it was. Okay, anyway, Smells Like Teen Spirit there's other songs from Nirvana that are so much better, even though Smells Like Teen Spirit is the best one and the most popular. So, anyway, I despise this album. It's better than their third album, but not by much.
I completely disagree with about everything that you said.
Yep, I knew you would, because this is one of those polar opposite moments when we are going to be full polar opposite. I have not liked Nirvana since I was a kid. I never have, and Parker has loved them since he was a kid, probably.
No, I actually only listened to their stuff. I really only gave their stuff a good listen, like when I brought it up to you.
Oh, okay.
So within the last couple of months. Like,
Gotcha. So you're a fake fan. I see.
no, it just means I don't have the nostalgia factor of
Yeah, I
having
know.
grown up with it, and I think it's genuinely good. Um,
Yeah.
so the Bleach definitely for me. Since we'll talk about that one first specific. I guess are we just grouping all of them together? Are we just talking Bleach specifically, and we'll get to the other ones
Let's
later.
do Bleach, and then we'll talk the other Nirvana ones, and then we'll go to
Yeah.
Green Day.
Okay, cool.
Actually, Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, Green Day.
Okay, yeah, just keep with the grunge. Yeah. So, Bleach definitely to me is like, okay, it's definitely their first album. It's kind of, I won't say rough around the edges because it's definitely it's kind of supposed to be, but I mean, it definitely feels, it laid the foundation for what their next project would be, and I think it does just fine at that. Like a lot of their sound carries over to their other albums, and I think this is a pretty good early example of what their work is. Um, like we were talking about before, Blue is probably my second favorite on the record. Just like it's I find it quite catchy. Um, and just the instrumentals throughout this whole album as well. I think that while they're rough, they sound great.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, I
Paper Cut.
actually did heart a few songs.
Ooh,
Okay, Blue was one of them. Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. Paper Cuts was another, and then Scoff and Swap Meet, and that's it.
Glad to hear that we have similar taste on what songs are good on this album because
So
I really like Paper Cuts and I really like Swap Meet.
I don't remember them at all, but those are the out of all of Nirvana's material, those are the only 4 songs I liked. So they actually I should probably put this album at a 4.1 if Nevermind is at a 4.1, and should lower the other one down. So yeah, let me do that really quick. You keep talking.
But yeah, anyways, to move over to Paper Cut, just the main thing I really like about this is, I mean, Kurt Cobain's vocals throughout this whole project I really enjoy. Just kind of, it's where it's not so much even, I don't know if I'd even call it technically good, good from a technical standpoint, but it's just the way he uses it and the yeah, just how he uses his voice is great. And that goes throughout all their projects, but I think it's definitely is still in place here. Paper Cuts, what I really like is it's kind of like this pulsating, I guess, like bass line throughout the whole song that I think just sets a really good groove to it. Um, Definitely makes for one of the highlights on here for me. Like we talked about before, also Swap Meet. Um, it's just kind of a fun song. From what I remember. Um, Makes for one of the favorites on here. I do need to give this another listen. Um, I know everybody likes About a lot of people like About a Girl. I wasn't huge on it. I do think it has the potential to grow on me,
What song
but
is it?
About a Girl is
About
the
a
third
Girl?
one. Yeah,
I actually think that was like one of my least favorites if I remember correctly.
I've honestly from my mom, I heard that she really liked their MTV Unplugged live version of it, like
Okay.
the acoustic, um, which I do want to throw that live album in here,
Ah,
but
more Nirvana.
more Nirvana. Um, it's not just all their own solo material though. They do like covers and shit too. It's
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, but anyways, yeah, this is a very good starting album. Like for their first project, I enjoyed this. So
All right. So I need you to do something for me.
yes,
You got to repeat this after me, okay?
I don't know if I want to repeat whatever you're gonna say
You need to
next.
repeat after me. Ready?
Mhm.
Smells
Smells
Like
Like
Teen Spirit
Teen Spirit
is a bad track.
is a fucking incredible track and is one of their best songs.
All right, so fuck you and everything you stand for. You are completely wrong. It is
Mm,
horrible. It is whiny. It is just horrendously made. There is nothing interesting lyrically, or the only thing that's interesting is the first 5 seconds with the guitar, whatever that is, and then after that, it just sucks.
I feel like you are just objectively wrong on
Uh,
this.
no, no.
Mm,
I will stand my fucking ground for this one for the
mm,
rest of my life until the day I die. I will never say I like this song. If I
oh,
ever
okay.
do, someone can come and kill me.
I will. I'll kill you anyways.
So,
um.
which concert am I dying at?
Well, let's see. Fit for a King would probably be easiest, just because I can be like,
Ooh.
oh, he was in the pit and he got
I mean, hey,
smacked
there was some
so hard
heavy
he hit his
songs right
head.
in a
Like,
row.
oh no, I don't know what happened, officer. Um, and it can be like, oh, it was just a horrible, tragic mosh pit accident.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't. God, it's like it's 49 minutes, and I mean, respectfully, that's a fine amount of time for any album. I don't mind that ever.
Mhm.
But I just can't figure out why people like Smells Like Teen Spirit. I just can't. I musically I can't understand why. And that's the problem with me is that or is the problem with like being trying to figure out Nirvana at all is I can't musically understand why you like this. Even lyrically, I'm reading it, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't understand this. And it's like half realistic and half mixed in metaphors, and I'm like, what?
Mhm.
What is going on?
Well, it's not. It smells like Teen Spirit, especially, is a song that's not really supposed to make much sense lyrically. And that's kind of
Okay,
its point, which if that doesn't work for you, then yeah, it's just like
yeah, it's
it's just not
that's
gonna work.
exactly the issue. Like respectfully, I can understand that this band is popular and that people like it. It just does absolutely nothing for me. And honestly, I'd rather listen to Big Thief.
That's impressive,
I would rather
actually.
listen to Nirvana over Soul Glow. But
Ooh, mm,
Big Thief, I'll take Big Thief.
you'll take Big Thief.
Just because it probably is very nice in the backgrounds, like
Yeah,
when I'm not
that
fully
album
paying
was very
attention
good.
to it. But for an 80-minute album to try and focus on that while at work, that is so hard to do.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, on Smells Like Teen Spirit and also the entirety of Nirvana, you are just wrong. Um, so the
This is
this
how a podcast ends after 3 episodes. Yeah, three
Yeah,
episodes.
something like that. Not even, we'll put it. Yeah, we'll put out this third one, and then we'll
The
be done.
next episode may not come out, so
Yeah, we said we were gonna record two tonight. It's not gonna happen. Uh, the so I mean, obviously, never mind. It's considered a classic for a reason. This thing is so good. Um, I think it's one of my highest rated albums of like our entire list of every album we've done.
I'll look.
Um, hmm?
I'll
It
look
is.
real quick.
Yeah. Um, I think that there's a reason that this thing is as popular as it is, and it
Yes, it is.
to me is it combines so well. It's just like these almost like really hooky like choruses and guitar lines, and the drumming is great on this. This is the first album with David Grohl on it. He sounds great on here. Um, just everything about this comes together in such a way that makes this a classic, even 30 years out from when 32 years out from when it first released. Like, Smells Like Teen Spirit, In Bloom, Come As You Are. Basically the first 6 songs are all incredible. Territorial Pissings, it kind of drops off for me, but even that's not a bad track. I love Drain You is great. I'm not gonna I will what I will say is that the lyrics are kind of, like you said, kind of nonsensical at points, and well, then it doesn't really deter me from like singing along with them, humming along with them. Like it's I don't even know. It's just great. Um,
I
my
will
personal favorite.
give you this. Nonsensical, stupid, funny lyrics
Mhm.
are just sometimes so catchy or fun and enjoyable that they really are just, this is such a stupid line that I want to keep singing it over and over again. I think of Electric Callboy for a lot of their lines that, like, I mean, choo 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 constantly. Um,
Mhm.
like that's such a stupid breakdown inclusion line. It's like this fits so perfectly, and I just want to keep singing it every single time. I also think of like an artist like Poppy, who bury me 6 feet deep, cover me in concrete, please. Like that's such a weird and stupid line, and then you're singing it every single time it comes on, no matter what. In the same
Mhm.
song, I don't like coffee. I don't like to drink tea. I tried to drink coffee. I tried to drink tea, um, but nothing is as good as your blood in my mouth. Uh, yeah, or something of
Like,
that similar sort. And it's so fucking weird. And I'm sitting there like, and such like a positive mood of the song. And I'm like, holy fuck, does this is actually so catchy and so bop heavy. And then you realize what they're talking about. And you're like, oh, um, do I want to sing about this? But then
mhm.
on the flip side, it's like for the nonsense lyrics, it's like this makes no sense. Fuck it, let's sing along anyway because we can't listen to anything else.
I will say maybe I'm not much of a lyricist. I'm not very good at like looking into the deeper meanings behind a lot of lyrics. I think there, despite it coming off as nonsensical, I do think this. It smells like Teen Spirit. I think is supposed to be nonsensical.
Yeah,
I think a lot of I think having there's a lot more meaning behind it on other songs. Um, but I mean, regardless, it's so incredibly catchy. Even on first listen, it was like In Bloom. The chorus on that is incredible. Like yeah, honestly, it might be my favorite on the album. Um, just I can sing along to that all day. Come as You Are. I love the first verse. The first verse is like iconic for a reason. Um, and just kind of like just the first six tracks are perfect, basically. Um, I really like Polly. Polly is fascinating topically, and it's um, also providing like a nice change of pace for the album, I think. And before you jump right back into territorial pissings, where it just really picks up again. Um, but yeah, it's incredible. It's excellent. It's one of the best albums of all time, in my opinion, and it's worth its classic status.
you know, if we ever did a like top 50 of our favorite albums list that was combined,
Mhm.
genuinely, I would make this our 50th and would not fight for anything higher. Sorry, would fight
I
for against anything higher.
I would fight you on putting it higher.
I'll give you
For
50th.
putting it
That's
higher.
about all I'll give you.
Fucking
Anyway,
bitch. Anyways,
we have In Utero, which is their last album before Kurt Cobain passed away. Um, I'll be honest, I got 3 songs in. I was on a Nirvana listening streak, and I was so done with this, and I just messaged him and I said, I'm fucking done. I quit. And I didn't go back to it ever. I don't have interest in going back to this. Uh, if you put a gun up against my head, I'll listen to it. But that's about it.
that's about the only situation.
So
I will drive down and put a gun to your head. I don't have a
please
gun,
don't.
but
So yeah, currently this is Parker's session. He gets to talk all this time because he knows more Nirvana than I do. Oh, speaking of, we also have the Muse album to listen to.
you'll get your time with that, I think.
Yeah, I know. So that's what I'm saying is that like
Yeah.
we'll have our time for. He'll have his time for Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots. I'll have my time for a little bit of Green Day and Muse. So go ahead with the last Nirvana album that we have.
This is this comes very close. This comes pretty close to the highs Nevermind hit for me. I think I do need to give it more listens, but I think as I think this is definitely a worthy successor, and this would this would have been a worthy successor, um, to Nevermind. Um, just the abrasiveness on this thing is fascinating, and kind of I heard the idea that he after the commercial success of Nevermind, Kurt Cobain was kind of like, okay, we need to, I want to write something that it will it'll go so far against mainstream taste that will kind of fade into a more underground position again. And then it was successful anyways, as far as I know. So this thing, I think what it loses in some of the catchiness and um it's definitely not an easy listen compared to Nevermind, but I think a lot of the music is just as good, if not better. um so I did rate it lower, but that's mostly because I need to spend more time with this. I want to spend more time with this. um what were the highlights that was thinking of? um I think Serve the Servants was a very good opening track. I think I remember, was it Dumb? I think it was Dumb that I liked a lot. Um All Apologies is a very, very good closer. Um which is probably my favorite song on the record. Um yeah, I don't have a ton to say on this just because I haven't spent as much time with it as I have the other two, but it's very much it's just excellent.
Okay. Yeah, so I I just don't think I'll ever enjoy Nirvana myself. To be honest, I actually really did try to keep this as positive as possible. When listening to it, I really did keep an open ear open. I didn't just shut it off. I didn't just say fuck this, I'm done until the very last album. But for the fact that I was able to at least get through 2 full albums of an artist that I wasn't interested in, respectfully, at least I got through something that wasn't at least horrendous by the first song. Example of So Glow there. um
I still I
yeah,
I'm not
whatever.
gonna start this. I'm not gonna start the Soul Glow fight
Because we'll
again.
start for another 20 minutes on that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna start the
um
Soul Glow fight.
so another album that we checked out is Stone Temple Pilots and their album Purple. uh I'm just gonna say my bit here. I listened to it. I don't remember anything from the first 4 songs of the album, even Interstate Love Song, which I know the sound of. I've heard it on the radio before. And this is after that song, I realized it does nothing for me. Grunge as a genre does nothing for me. And that's when I messaged Parker and I was like, this is doing absolutely nothing for me, unfortunately. It was slightly better than Nirvana, and I would rather go listen to this over that. But I have absolutely no general interest in the genre of grunge, which is hard to say because genre is with a J and grunge is with a G sound. So I'm starting to notice that. I know people were thinking, wait, where the hell is he going with this one? Yeah, no, to be honest, it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm going to let Parker just keep talking here. He's going to have his time.
Grunge and genre.
Ew. Don't
I
do
know,
that
I
again,
hate it.
please.
That was a mistake. What the fuck am I talking
Yeah,
about?
why the fuck did you ever say that?
Why did I have to say that? Why did I say that? Why was that the
This
first
is
thing that
why
came to mind?
English is
Anyway,
English.
yeah. Um
For our
the
non-English listeners, have fun.
the so this one I had recommended to me by my mother, and This thing hits. Um, I haven't managed to go back to it really with all the other stuff I've been trying to listen to, but this has all the foundations. This is very similar foundations to what I like about Nirvana. Um, Obviously that being the closest comparison point, most likely. Um, I don't know if I'd say I like it in as much as certainly Nevermind and In Utero, but I definitely would probably take this over Bleach, even just on first listen. Um, yeah, it's just a very solid grunge record. Um, it's been a while since I've listened to it, but it's grunge as a genre is just something I'm definitely more inclined to than Evan is. Um, and it's just it's something I'm looking forward to going back to at a certain point.
That was the quickest review we've ever done for that one.
It's been a bit since I've listened to these, so I don't have
that's fair.
too much specifics to
For
say.
context, we listened to these end of January.
This is like early February.
End of January, early February. I was also in the middle of transitioning classes, and it was a hectic time for me. Anyway, so I'm gonna jump ahead in time, and then we're gonna go back to Green Day because there's quite a bit for Green Day in general. Let's discuss Muse and their debut album Showbiz, which came out in 1999. There's no specific date for it, just says January 1st. So Parker, I'm going to let you start this off because you probably have a lot more to say than I do.
This is better than their modern day stuff that I've heard. And I don't have too much to say more than that. It's definitely a Muse record. Like even when they were even with this early stuff, this is their first official project, I believe. They definitely had a sound picked out and they've stuck with it, and I can commend them for that. Whether I liked the sound that they have stuck with, that's a different question. There's definitely my main issue is just I don't Matt Bellamy as a vocalist, just the way he sings a lot of the time, I don't care for. That's not a knock against him on a technical level. That's just I don't like the way he sings.
That's me with Kurt Cobain, so
yeah. Like it's a Muse record, and that's what it is. This is the one other project I listened to them, which is The Will of the People. This is significantly better than Will of the People because it did not make me want to punch a wall.
We should change our 1 to 2 rating to be I want to punch a wall.
Well,
like 0 to 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Just like our rating system, because my 1 is Soul Glow, and that is I want to punch a wall. Nirvana has been this is terrible, and I don't want to listen to it anymore, but I'm listening because I have to. So that'd be like the 1.5 to 3.
Will the People falls into my like awful category. It's not quite the lowest of the low dog shit, but it's close.
Yeah.
There's no nothing here is horrendous to me. It's all very fairly inoffensive. Like I think they're described as like space rock or whatever their type of style is called. Like it's very inoffensive.
Math alternative rock.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty good here. I'm more positive than negative on it. It doesn't make me want to, break things like we are fucking. So.
So for Muse Showbiz, I gave it a final ranking of 8.4. Because honestly, this is such a good debut album for a band that I've loved since I found them back in like I think I unintentionally heard them back on the radio when Oh, what's the song called? What's the song called? Starlight. Starlight came on the radio with when I was in the car with my aunt. So this was 2006, 2007. I was 11, 12 years old. I loved it. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I didn't know how to look up music then. So I just said, whatever, I like this. And then I found them years later with Knights of Sidonia on Guitar Hero 3. I didn't fully check them out, but I enjoyed that song and other songs, but I never really dove into a lot of them. Then The Resistance came out in 2009, and I fell in love immediately. Band was immediately one of my favorites. I loved them. I hadn't checked out a lot of their earlier work, so I really was just a fake fan who loved one album. Second Law came out 2012, loved it. Drones came out, and then I'm avoiding that for a reason. The Simulacrum, Simulation Theory, whatever it is, 2018, 2020, that came out. Honestly, better. And then Will of the People, really, really solid return. But I never had checked out their earlier work till last year. I checked out Showbiz, and I really enjoyed it then. I thought it was a really incredible album. I went back to it now with a more critical eye. I did find a lot more negatives than I thought it would be, and it's mostly the second half tends to just kind of, I guess, bleed on and be really boring. Honestly, Uno and Sober are my two least favorites off this entire album. The ending is fine. It's not the greatest. But the first half, Philip is whatever, but Sunburn all the way through Unintended is such a good streak of songs. And it really does lay the foundation for what the Muse sound actually becomes, because they include symphonic elements, the alternative elements, the very math alternative rock sound that they have. And it also really showcases a lot of what's the lead singer's name?
Matt Bellamy, I think.
Matt's range can actually become. And so, even though I literally have my door shut, it's still not shut. But anyway, I really think that this is a really, really nice debut album, similar to how Parker was talking about with Nirvana and Bleach. This is a really nice debut album to start off, and it really showcases where their sound originated from, while still being unique in its own right for Showbiz versus later albums which have their own identity for certain things, such as like The Resistance being more of a radio rock friendly rebellion album than the alternative album that you'll hear on this. I love this album. I still really enjoy it. There's just a few songs that didn't stick with me as much as I thought they would, but I'm still really happy with how this is a debut album. So yeah. I could go on and on about Muse all day long. And then we have a few albums. And by a few, I mean
just a few Green Day albums.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums from Green Day.
Five.
Yeah. So Green Day is interesting because their early material is very quick, and a lot of it is really, a lot of the songs are really, really short. So let's jump into, what is it called? 1039. Wait, what's
39 Smooth? 39 Smooth is the official record. The 1039 smoothed out slappy hours or whatever it is.
Oh, my bad.
Is a compilation of like their first EP.
So
like
it's smoothed out.
EP. It's 39 Smooth is the.
Okay, so 39 Smooth.
I think it's up through like track 10 or 11.
Okay. Anyway, this first album, it really is exactly what I expected from a Green Day early album. because for me personally, I had heard most of the classics that we're going to talk about from their early days, which are a very different sound from American Idiot, which a lot of people are very familiar with. I feel like American Idiot and before was a very different time period than American Idiot and afterwards. I don't know if Parker agrees with me or not, but
No, well, I haven't listened to American Idiot yet, but yes, I agree.
yeah,
From what I've heard of their stuff, yes.
because I feel like American Idiot like got that like popularity rise that like every band has that one album that just is like, okay, this is a classic, you listen to it, period, done.
Right.
What did you think of 39 Smooth?
So, I know we're talking specifically about 39 Smooth. I'm gonna break that rule. Well, it's not a rule, but I'm gonna
We could
break
just
that.
talk Green Day if we need to.
I'm just gonna talk their whole
Sure.
discography up to this point because I have very similar things to say about all of them. So I'm just gonna group it all together and
Actually,
talk
wait.
about the
I want to
collective.
say one thing.
Mhm.
Because I think I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah.
For a debut album, this exactly identifies what Green Day is going to sound like and how they're going to structure their albums all the way until 1999. And I think this does a very solid job at doing that for the rest of the albums showcasing going after this. I just wanted to comment on that because I gave it in the end a 7.1 because I realized this is a very nice debut album, and most of the songs are still very solid in comparison to other songs on future albums that we'll talk about. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a Green Day record, and it sets the basis for what a Green Day record will be for the next decade, basically, from when this was released. And it's also my biggest struggle with Green Day is that, oh my god, a lot of this sounds the same to me. Like throughout all these
Yeah.
records that we listen to, my biggest issue is that I would not likely be able to tell you what album, like if you gave me a song outside of like few specific examples, like the biggest songs, Welcome to Paradise,
Basket Case.
um I think there were probably a couple more off Kerplunk that I could name.
Yeah.
Time of Your Life, or Good Riddance, I think is actually
Yep.
what it's technically called. Um, outside of those specific instances, I would not be able to tell you what era or what album a lot of these songs came from. And they're all, a lot of them are structured very similarly. A lot of them are kind of these short, like 2 minute, like
Yeah, to
power
go along
chord,
with that,
like
I have a good scenario with that.
mhm,
Imagine you're going to a Buffalo Wild Wings or a wing bar or something, and you
mhm.
order 20 wings.
Okay.
3 of those wings have a
Mhm.
surplus amount of chicken on them. The rest are basically the bones.
Mhm.
That is really what it comes down to, is
Yeah.
that you get an album with 18 songs, 15 songs, 16 songs, and they are 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1.5 minutes. On Insomniac, it's 32 minutes, 14 songs, and one song on it, Brain Stew, is the only good song on it because the rest of it is just 2-minute songs that have the same sound all throughout it. Like lyrically, they are the same thing repeated over and over and over again. And I think that's also what you're going to comment on too.
Yeah, there are, you know, each album has like their one or two excellent highlights, and the rest of it just kind of blends together. And I think a lot of it is just I'm sure there's a lot more underneath the surface that I could use to differentiate a lot of these if I
Uh-huh.
were to look into it. But definitely just listening to it it's like all the guitar work sounds the same to me throughout a lot of this. Like it's kind of the this like the I don't know, I'm not even gonna try to sound out what it what it sounds like to me, but um
It's the same guitar riffs.
it sounds very similar to everything else around it. Um
Oh, I just thought of something.
the songs that the songs that I can remember and pick out are very good. Welcome to Paradise is a great track. Um it's which is frustrating because it's like it yeah, you have this great song and then everything else doesn't really do much to differentiate itself.
Mm-hmm. I will
You know?
argue that Dookie, which has quite a few of the very popular songs, has a lot of really good songs on it that are more unique than the other albums out there.
Mhm.
The other day, just for fun, I wanted to start listening to Dragon Force, and I minimized my Spotify, and I have a way to like skip to the next song on my keyboard. And I had Parker look at Spotify while I guessed what the song was and what album it was, and I was nearly perfect minus about 3 or 4 songs that I just didn't know outright. But I could tell,
You were going probably a good 65-70% on it.
yeah, 70% out of like a good like 20 songs.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that I was able to identify what album it was from immediately or what song it was. Because like for example, Cry for Eternity, I absolutely love that song, could listen to it 30 times in a row, it would never complain. The biggest thing about Green Day is that I could put on Having a Blast from Dookie, and I wouldn't be able to tell you if it was their first album, second album, fifth album, or their latest stuff. Well, maybe their latest stuff, but the complaint that we both have, that I think we just agree on, the first 5 albums blend together so much that it doesn't feel like there's anything original on it. It just feels like it's a copy paste from the record company. And it really, really makes me annoyed, because this is a band that so many people are like, oh, Green Day, such a good starting band for that rock area of the world, that
Right.
radio rock or that punk rock, that emo rock that really started. And it all just blended together in the 90s. These 90s were like, they didn't understand how to make a different album. Maybe the lead singer, I forget his name, god damn it.
Joe Armstrong.
What?
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Billy Joe Armstrong. Maybe he wrote 100 songs in the very beginning and just used those over 5 albums, because that's what it feels like. And it just really frustrates me that we both sat here and, for the most part, if we go through this, 7.1 for 39 Smooth, 6.7. Kerplunk is 5 and 7.1. Dookie is 8 and 6.4. Insomniac is 5, 5.9. And Nimrod is 6.6, 6.3. There is no album here that, in theory, if we were doing like okay, what's our favorites from the 90s? None of those would even strike close to the top 10 or top 20 list, maybe even top 30. At best, maybe with a chance, Kerplunk skims it by the skin of its teeth or something. But I highly doubt, based on 7.1, that it would actually make a list. For me, Dookie may make a list, but probably wouldn't in the end. Instead of like Nirvana, which you would make your top 10, maybe even your top 1 or 2. Or me for Muse, for example, which could easily make my top 20, top 30. So
What I do want to say is that the base for all these songs, it's not like each song is bad. I just it's
listening to it 100 times.
right. It's like I would hesitate to call anything here bad. I would also hesitate to say anything here is exceptionally good outside of a couple tracks.
Yeah. I'll go maybe 10 tracks in total that were like...
I do want to talk about why Kerplunk is my favorite. of all of these, and that's because there were tracks on here that I can remember distinctly being like, oh, that's a new riff, or like that sounds different from what I've heard on 39 Smooth and Dookie.
Yeah.
And so, while there is bits, there is definitely obvious, there's of course bits and pieces from other, from that would from 39 Smooth, and that would go on to be used in their other albums. This one feels the most in I guess interesting. I guess would be the word.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like it has the most going on to me personally. Um, so
For me, that's Dookie.
mhm.
Dookie has so much going on, and I really enjoy the uniqueness of it. And you didn't like it as much as the others, but we both basically just agree that Insomniac is not the greatest album of in any regard
Insomniac is easily the worst case
of
of
these
all of these
five.
of this shit all sounds the same, and I can't tell each song from one another.
The worst part is, like, I'm not trying to make this sound bad, but we have one Green Day. There should be two. Wait, did we not include? Wait,
What are you
what's
talking about?
this 2002 album? Shenanigans? Did we forget that?
Oh no, Shenanigans is a I don't think it's like I don't think it was a live album. Maybe it was a live album.
Well, it
Let me-
doesn't show that.
It's not an official one.
Oh.
It's not. It's Oh no, I think it's a B-sides record. I think that's what it.
Oh, okay, that's why we're not doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a B-sides record.
Um okay, but yeah, we have one more in our next group. So we still have to listen to more Green Day, and hopefully it's not the same as the other five albums. Um
Honestly, we probably could have thrown Warning in here too.
we easily could
And
have.
yeah,
But the biggest thing for personally for me is that, oh, well, then we should have included Slipknot in here because that's 1999.
yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
not.
if we
I'm
were
not
doing the
complaining how we did it.
90s.
I know you were, because I think you were like, yes, I know Slipknot
Oh,
1999, but it feels distinct enough from the rest of this era that
the reason is because Slipknot is the start of that new metal that Korn really introduced in the mid 90s, late 90s. And by the way, are you interested in Korn at all?
um I mean, I guess like it's this is go ahead.
So I think there might be an artist that maybe will make me punch a wall more than
Mhm.
Soul Glow will ever, or
Yep.
make me hate something more than Nirvana, and I think it might become Korn.
You not a Corn guy.
I have never enjoyed Korn in my life, and
Mhm.
to all the haters out there, I don't care. I, if you want to check it out, I am willing to check it out,
Mhm.
but be prepared for as maybe negativity or maybe mid-level stuff, because the stuff I've heard I despise with a burning passion.
Mhm.
um but yeah, Slipknot really is that like new metal generation starting in 1999 and 2000s, because we also get that Disturbed album and the Linkin Park album, which is really that early rise of that like new metal stuff. So, and plus Slipknot's a completely different conversation than Green Day, Muse, or Stone Temple Pilots, or Nirvana.
Yeah, it also, yeah, it feels it's very very different type of
Yeah.
thing, I think.
Also, they are literally like my child, and I will take care of them. Similar to how like Currents is Parker's child, Slipknot is my
Yes.
child. They were the first metal band I ever truly found that I consider metal, and I've loved them since. And I will die for them.
Actually, quick question while I'm thinking about it. How would you say how would you say it compares in terms of sound to their most recent album? That one I've actually listened to, and I think that will very much
Okay,
determine how much I like
so
having to do all the Slipknot stuff.
their early stuff is more chaotic,
Okay.
but they are the definition of a band who doesn't understand how to fully evolve their sound.
Mm, okay.
Basically, when it ain't broke, don't fix it. That stance.
Mhm.
They are that definition after All Hope Is Gone, their fourth album.
Okay.
Their first four albums are very, very good.
Mhm.
Personally, I have a bias towards All Hope Is Gone because it came out right when I about found them, and I loved it, and I hold it as a special place in my heart. So, but it's not the most well received.
Right.
But their Volume 3 is one of the most unique ones, and honestly, one of the best ones. Their first two albums are very experimental and very odd, but I still enjoy them, and the singles I can sing along to very, very well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think you'll either enjoy it more by a good margin than their latest work, or you'll
Mhm.
despise it even more than their latest work.
Okay.
I don't think you'll feel about the same.
Okay. Because I was mid as hell on
Yeah,
that,
I know. I was
on that
also mid
new
as
one.
hell because it felt the opening track is just very ugh. Um so anyway, to review basically, to review what happened in this episode. We've confirmed that Evan does not like grunge. Parker
Okay.
loves grunge.
I
We are
like
both
grunge.
okay on Green Day as a whole right now, but until we actually get something that's worth remembering more than a few singles for an album, Green Day is still just mid for a band as it currently stands. Obviously, there are many other albums that they have released, considering that we haven't gotten to Uno, Dos, and Tres, which are the unspoken don't talk about them records of Green Day.
Spoken trilogy.
Um, for context, my mother loves Green Day and has seen them a good 5+ times. Her record, I believe, is Bruce Springsteen with 10 to 15 times, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
She loves Green Day. She loves their early work, well, some of their early work, and loves American Idiot, 21st Century Breakdown. She just loves seeing them live too. Plus, honestly, they are amazing live. I will say they are really incredible. I saw them live once and I loved it. Um, and when she talked to me about the albums, and I was saying that a lot of the early work sounds generally the same, and she was like, "Yeah, that's what I had heard as well." And I'm like, "Okay, I am not alone in this.
We're
I'm
not
not going crazy."
insane.
And
Let's
when I
go.
told her, I said, "We'll eventually get to the Uno Dos Tres." She's like, "Oh, I did not like those," and I was like, I hadn't even listened to those, and the fact that it's 36 songs released within one calendar year is
Within 4 months.
absolute. Sorry,
Not even a full
four
calendar
months.
year. 4 months.
That is incredible considering that 21st Century Breakdown was 2009, and that is saying something about them. So anyway, we had a lot of polar opposites in the episode, but we also respectfully listened to bands that we may not have gone out and ventured to on our own, or bands that we weren't fully interested in and just hadn't gotten to yet. And this is what these episodes are about, is that we do really review a lot of stuff that may not be on our radar right away, but we're trying to say, hey, go check this out. Or both of us got recommended it and said, okay, fuck it, we gotta check this out. There are a few I want to add to the early 2000s, one of them being Killswitch Engage, because I still want to do that. I haven't done that yet. But anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Parker, you're doing the outro because I don't feel like fucking doing it.
I'm doing the fucking outro. How do I outro this shit? I don't know. We'll figure
Figure
it
it the
out.
fuck out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah, go follow us on all the socials. We have Twitter, YouTube. Obviously, we're on here. I keep saying we're on here. That doesn't make any sense. We're on Spotify.
Spotify.
We're on Spotify. Find us at wherever you listen to any podcasts. Um, yeah, have a great rest of your night or day or whatever time of day it is for you. I don't know, but have a good one.
Goodbye.